What's up, lovers of whiskey and watchers of YouTube? I'm the Malt Activist, and today we have what many consider the holy grail of bourbons. I'm talking about the Pappy Van Winkle 15-year-old family reserve. Whoa. Before we begin, a big fat shout out to my first time viewers. Thank you for clicking through to this channel. If whiskey is your cup of tea, then this channel is the one for you. Please consider liking, sharing, subscribing if you like what you see. So thank you for coming around, and very welcome. To my returning viewers, once again, thank you for keeping your standards so low and coming back. It's highly appreciated. And finally, big up to my Patreon and YouTube member gang. You guys are the reason this channel is still on. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. All right, let's get on with the review. Now, I'm going to be supremely honest with you. Basically, you know what happened last time. So I told you I had these 3 samples from the Van Winkle family. I had a 15-year-old that we're going to review today. There was a 10-year-old Van Winkle, not the Pappy, just the Van Winkle, and then we have a rye Van Winkle. This is the only Pappy that we have. Apparently, Pappy is the honor bestowed to the 15 and the 23-year-old and the 20-year-old, of course. Sorry, anything less than that is just called the Van Winkle. So this is what happened, right? That was my first. No, actually, it's not my first time having a Van Winkle. I've already drunk the 15 Pappy many years ago, before the world was crazy, you know what I mean? I remember I was sitting at a bar, and on the menu was the Pappy Van Winkle 15 Family Reserve. And at that time I didn't know much, and I was like, oh, let me have this bourbon because I felt like having a bourbon. And it was like $10 $10 for a shot. And I ordered a double, and even at that time I was thinking, well, this is not too expensive, you know, and it wasn't. And I drank it, and it was the last, I think it was the last 2 drams that they had in the bottle. And I said, do you have any more? And they said, no, we're out. And I guess that was the last time even they saw a bottle of the Pappy Van Winkle in their bar. And I remember drinking it, and I was like, whoa, this is awesome. And then obviously, like every other bourbon head or whiskey head or whoever, I went around searching for it, and it was impossible. There's no way any normal, sane, logical person can get their hands on any of the Pappies. It's ridiculous. It's stupidly expensive. And is it worth the money? Well, that's a subject that we can discuss at the end of the video, right? Luckily for me, I have a bunch of really good friends, and as I told you in my previous video, they had a set of 5 samples, which was the Van Winkle tasting sample, and I managed to get myself the 10-year-old Van Winkle as well as the rye, and this 15 that we have in our hands right now. Can you focus on that? I don't know if you can. There you go. Yes, it's in a little sample bottle. I am not rich enough to afford the entire bottle. So I remember drinking this back then and thinking, wow, that's really good, you know? But then a couple of videos ago, when I sampled the 10-year-old Van Winkle, I was a little confused. The look of confusion, a lot of people commented, they're like, the look of confusion on your face was palpable, very uncomfortable. Because I was sitting there thinking, ooh, I am going to taste the elixir of life, and this is going to change everything. And it didn't. It was just okay. It wasn't bad. It was okay. And at $1,200 a bottle, whiskey should not taste okay. And there was a very peculiar, what I identified as a flavor was bubblegum, right? Which during the course of my discussion on the comments turns out it's just kind of more sugar water more than bubblegum. And I tend to agree, which means that, I mean, it wasn't that great. It was okay. It was not bad. It was all right. I actually thought that the sample was tainted, that, you know, because it was in a sample bottle and maybe the plastic corrupted it or something happened, and it wasn't a good sample that I was tasting the whiskey from. Turns out most people who've drunk it have had the same reaction, and they're like, yeah, bro, it's not that good. It's not that good at all. And so it's with slightly less excitement that I bring out the 15-year-old Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve to try in front of you. Mind you, the last time I had the Pappy 15 was, maybe more than 15 years ago. And I've been hunting for it ever since, and it's kept getting more and more expensive. And now, obviously, I'm never ever in my life going to get a Pappy Van Winkle. Unless, I don't know, by some miracle, I discover oil in my backyard. Other than that, don't hold your breath. So, but having said that, good whiskey or bad whiskey, it is something that not many people in the world have tried, not many people in the world have access to. So I'm thankful that I have access to at least a sample that I can taste and share with you guys. And all thanks to my friends who are so super generous, who just give away Pappy samples like, it's okay, you can have it. We all need friends like this in our life. So, yes, enough of the rambling. Let's get on with the tasting. There you go. Your medicine, sir. Your medicine. Let's pour ourselves. Now, mind you, this is the first time after 15 years that I'm drinking this whiskey. I still have some left. I'm gonna keep it for a friend of mine. Let him taste it. Let's see what he has to say. Okay, what do we know? What do we know about this whiskey? Number one, it's 15 years old. Okay, says so on the label. We're willing to accept that. It's bottled at 53.5% ABV, which is 107 proof. So, not bad as far as the strength is concerned. Matured in new heavily charred oak barrels for 15 years at the Buffalo Trace distillery. And finally, most importantly, this is the wheated mash bill. That's right, this is the wheated mash bill from the Buffalo Trace distillery, which means the following. Now, I did as much research as I could about the different mash bills that are there at Buffalo Trace and what they use for the Pappy 15. And the answer is that it's a wheated mash bill. The exact formula, nobody knows, but there are a lot of educated guesses, but it's a high wheat mash bill, which means between 12 and 16% wheat, around 12% malted barley, with the rest of it being corn. So for those of you who don't know, Buffalo Trace has different mash bills that it uses for its different expressions. So, I'm not 100% sure, but for example, mash bill 1 and 2 are used for Eagle Rare, for Blanton's, for Colonel E.H. Taylor, all of that. The wheated mash bill for the Pappy series. And one of the important things is that for the Pappy, there's no rye in the mash bill. It's just wheat, malted barley, and corn. So that's the high wheat mash bill, or the wheated mash bill as it's known. Which also some of them say is a bit confusing, because a high mash bill or a high wheated mash bill should have at least 20% wheat, but this one doesn't. People estimate that it's between 12 and 16%. Of course, if you know better than I do, which I'm so sure you do, please leave it down in the comments below and let me know. Okay, so I think that's enough about the where the whiskey is from and what it does. I think it's time we drink it. All right. Now look, I'd already made up my mind that I was not going to get carried away, because it was a Pappy and all of the baggage that comes with drinking a Pappy, all the emotional upheavals that are happening inside you that come with drinking a Pappy or an elusive whiskey. I said I was going to disregard that completely and not let that bias my opinion. But I gotta tell you, man, this fucking nose is Bro. Bro, this is awesome. This is really, really, really good. I can sit and nose this for a fairly long time. That's how good it is. But let's get on with the the notes. I get a lot of oak, toffee, hot caramel, vanilla, brown sugar, cocoa powder, leather. There's a very toasty sweetness to it, and dried rose petals. Whoa. Look, man, I'm not swayed by the fact that it's a Pappy, even though I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be drinking a Pappy 15. I have to tell you, this is a fucking gorgeous nose. There is nothing wrong with this nose. It is just firing on all cylinders. The balance on this is just, oh. Look, I can do this for hours. A lot of you will start zoning out, but I gotta tell you, if you ever get your hands on a Pappy 15, take the afternoon off. Take the afternoon off and do nothing else but just sit and just nose it. Wow, okay. I'm absolutely floored. This is brilliant. Look, I hope palate doesn't let me down, but this is a fantastic nose. Wow. Okay, I can't wait to drink it. I have genuinely not drunk this in the last 15 years. I opened up the sample bottle right in front of you. Here you go. And I'm really excited right now. And I'm going to take a nice big fat sip and I'm going to hold it for you. Okay. Cheers. Okay. This is not as good on the palate as it is on the nose. The nose is exceptional. That palate is kind of average, slightly above average, I've had much better tasting bourbons than this. This is not to say it's not good. I think it's quite good, but the nose is exquisite and the palate is not bad, just about a little above average. Okay, let's do the notes first and then we can get into the nitty gritty of it. Okay, so initially, a lot of tobacco, toffee. I get some caramel, cinnamon, vanilla, brown sugar, dark fruits, and that leathery oak right at the end as well. Okay. Good long finish. I think that's because of the ABV, 53.5% ABV or 107 proof. Kind of sitting on my palate right now. Look. This is not bad. This is not bad. Okay. But is it unbelievable? No, it's not. Okay, let's talk about that now. It's a decent whiskey. It's a slightly above average whiskey, but it is certainly not an absolutely phenomenal whiskey. And I know it's got like near perfect scores, like 97 and 98 out of 100 or whatever it is. I just don't think it's good enough. I think it's okay. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the sample is messed up. I don't think so though. It's very well preserved sample, airtight, no oxygen in there. I did my research. Normally these kind of caps do not taint or corrupt the sample inside, and it just so happens that I think this whiskey is just okay. And I'm saying it's just okay because of the hype around it, right? Maybe if it was any other bourbon, I would be like, hey man, that's pretty good. Good effort. Well done. Keep trying. You know, I think you'll get better at this moving forward. But with the Pappy Van Winkle and all that it brings to the table in terms of the heritage and the reputation and the hoopla, this whiskey does not live up to its promise. And so I am going to now leave it at that. And say that, hey man, if you're out there searching for elusive whiskeys, then bear in mind that it might not meet your expectations. You say that you should never meet your heroes, and I guess they're right, because now I wish I had not drunk this, because then I would have had that perception of you know, Pappy's being the ultimate in bourbon drinking. But as it turns out, they are not.
I didn't understand that.
That is hilarious. That was my Android phone going, I didn't understand that. You know what? Google Assistant, even I didn't understand that. That is poetic. That is absolutely poetic. So there you go, man. I'm gonna leave this review slightly disheartened, a touch disappointed. Oh, should we give it a rating? I think the nose is exquisite. I think the palate is a bit I'll give it a 7.5. 7.5. It doesn't matter what I give it, does it? It really doesn't matter what I give it. 7.5 B-ish. Let's say 7.5 B plus. B. Yeah. B. That's fine. So not entirely bad, but definitely not worth the hype in my opinion, and certainly not worth the $2,500-3,000 price tag that this one commands. So, you know, buy at your own risk, drink at your own risk, and don't tell me I didn't tell you so. So there you go. Like I said, there's no right way to end a video, so I'm going to sign off here. I'm the Malt Activist. Until next time, peace.